Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Combat Craig, and today we're talking about the Camp Lejeune water contamination lawsuit. I have a special guest today that can help shine some light on this. It's part of the PACT Act, and today I have Matt Hill from Hill and Pond to help me explain this to you guys. Let's get you on screen.
Hey, Craig,
Howdy.
thanks for finally getting me on here. We've been talking about getting together and working together for a while, and it's awesome that we finally found something we can jump together on.
Exactly.
I'm so excited. This is a treat to be on here with you and create some more good trouble when it comes to VA benefits and making sure the VA's paying all the vets they need to be paying.
Yep, exactly. And they're not doing a very good job, but that, that's what we're both trying to do is fix that problem.
Exactly.
So we're talking about the PACT Act is huge. It hasn't passed yet. We're going to focus on the Camp Lejeune water lawsuit piece of this. And basically, the proposal's out there, and you feel pretty good that it's going to stay pretty much intact. I mean, anything could happen, but
I agree. I mean, as you know, we've been in the VA business long enough to know this, that anything could happen. My understanding is the Senate is the one slow to come around, but they're finally doing so, and that this should happen within the next month. The whole PACT Act, and we'd go from there.
okay. So it looks like this bill is going to cover all individuals that were at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Um, what does all individuals mean? Is that just veterans? Does it include dependents? What if you were a civilian worker? Like, what does all individuals mean?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, Craig, the interesting thing about the PACT Act, as you said, is absolutely massive. Deals with all these different exposures, hospital that you're getting more money for dealing with this, research on exposures. But then there's just one little section, it's section or two, it's 804, 805 in there that deals with non-veterans. And I just got to read the language because it's so fascinating to me. It says basically an individual, which would include a veteran, and then it says, or an individual that worked, resided, or otherwise was exposed while being there for 30 days. Okay, so that is everybody. I mean, how many vets had family there? How many? The way I look at it is, well, just trying to understand how big it is. What if you've got a veteran who was there for 4 years, okay,
Yep.
and their parents or their cousins came and visited them over that span, and that adds up to 30 days. So there's a lot of folks here who are eligible, and if you look at the time frames from 53 to 87, that's a lot of people. And I'm excited that our vets have yet another avenue, but I can't tell you how many calls we've gotten over the years saying, hey, a wife saying I lost a baby, or I had a child with significant birth defects, how can we get them benefits? And I was left, empty-handed saying, we can't help you because there's no statutory relief for that.
So basically, they're saying an individual, a human being, that has to drink water because our bodies are made out of water, like everybody, right?
Right.
Dumb it down. Okay. So yeah, that's huge. And 53 to 87, what's that? 34 years is the time span.
Yeah, they stopped letting me do math after I got out of law school, Craig. I'm going with you on that.
Yeah, I might be wrong too because I've exposed myself to the combined ratings table, so I use VA math
Oh,
more than regular math.
oh,
So
oh.
I might be wrong, but I think it's 34 years. So so we've established who the individuals are. Everybody pretty much that was there for
Right.
longer than 30 days. What types of disabilities do you need in order to file a claim?
So they're going to make you prove your claim. The VA, I think, has 8 presumptive disabilities. I'm not sure on that, but 8 presumptive for Camp Lejeune. If you have one of those, that case is going to be super easy because the standard, again, is likely as not. The VA has already conceded it. I think you'll have a very good claim. Here's the interesting thing, though. Even if you have a slight claim, or say you have headaches, or some kind of neurological pain, or you don't have anything at all. The state of North Carolina has in its laws that you can that you can get what's called medical monitoring for the rest of your life, or what they would consider the rest of the time that you could develop that disease. So not everyone would qualify. If you're there in 53 and the disease manifests, anywhere from a year to 30 years out, well, you're not going to qualify for medical monitoring, but you still could qualify for something if you're a bit older. So that's, to me, is very fascinating, because it allows everybody in, and we're talking probably $50 to $100 to $200,000 just for medical monitoring. So that's pretty big. And so we've been talking to different law firms who we're looking to partner with, who really understand this, and so we're trying to take and to get intake and try to get medical records for anyone and everybody who was there, because unfortunately with these toxic cases, it's not like you got burned and there it is, the next day you're dealing with it and it's there with you for your life. It's like it just pops up on you.
Right.
The cancer can come out of nowhere. So we're excited to be able to not only help these people, but to help a vast array of folks who can do this. But yeah, I mean, Craig, it's wide open, and I've had people say, well, oh my gosh, this is too generous, yada yada, and I say, this is about time, man.
Right. It's not. Yeah. They're finally admitting it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you said, and it's going to be a little easier because they conceded these 7 or 8 things, but then there's the other hundreds of things that at some stage or another the medical monitoring might come in, or they may concede other things as going to be kind of hard to tell, but everybody should go for it. So it's not.
And I would say that if it's a disease not on the presumptive, I'm sorry to cut you off there. No, there's still plenty of medical literature out there about other problems that people have that's not on the list, but could be, should be conceded. So just because there's that list there, that's great for people who are on there, but that doesn't mean if you're not on it and you have a severe disability that you don't fight for that. Okay.
Is the National Institute of Health, is that who's doing the research, or were they involved in some of this research?
They're involved in this, and they're giving their findings, but they're also, if you expand back to the overall PACT Act, I think they're involved specifically with the burn pits. There was another one at Gulf War, and then I think, were they involved in more Agent Orange? So they are. So the beauty of this, Craig, is that the VA has to be researching those issues that might come up, let's say with burn pits, issues that might arise as far as, is this other cancer something we should have presumptive? Well, they have to go to the NIH to figure this out. They can't just say, well, we researched it and we don't
didn't find anything. Right.
Yeah. So I love that. They got to have a really good reason not to listen to the NIH.
This just brings up something that's a little unrelated, but right now, especially with Gulf War stuff, MUCMEs, medically unexplained chronic multi-symptom illnesses. It sounds like this might make that change go away. Possibly.
Yeah, I hope it does not go away, because there's so much we don't understand.
Right.
What I hope is it expands other diseases that are on there, that honestly the VA understands what that means, that just because it's not diagnosed, but the veteran's having all these symptoms manifest that are strange symptoms, they need to give that person compensation. So my hope is, in a way, it doesn't go away, but the list, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, IBS, that we get more of those on there.
Right.
But yeah, again, get the VA bound by medicine, not by what they want to do.
And I ended up with a 60% rating for chronic fatigue syndrome because I'm a Gulf War veteran. So the MUCME aspect of it actually really worked out well for me. If I didn't get that, I wouldn't have got 100%. So yeah, good point. We don't want it to go away. We want it to expand. It's just weird when you're trying to most claims, you need a current diagnosis.
Exactly.
You need to have symptoms in a nexus, and when you don't know what it is and there is no diagnosis, you're really relying on the VA to go find something or say, we don't know what it is, but here's a 60% rating. That's not it's a strategy. I like to nail it down more if I can.
Right. It's counterintuitive that we know all other VA law, because got to have that current diagnosis. And when you have something like that to where you don't have a current diagnosis, the last thing you want is the VA to give you a diagnosis. They're like, maybe it's this, because we see that all the time. They're like, well, I don't know, but maybe it's this, and the VA will say, oh, well, we have a diagnosis and it doesn't fit, therefore no benefits, which
Yep, sounds like
it's
hearing loss.
frustrating.
Here's some hearing aids and 0%. Yeah, leaving it up to them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, got a little, went down a little wormhole there. Back to the Camp Lejeune water lawsuit. So, where can folks go to get the ball rolling with Hill and Ponton? Because you said you're going to, work with other lawyers in North
We
Carolina.
have I guess I should say, first of all, it's unlike VA claims. You can't file this through the VA. You actually have to file this through uh, a certain courthouse in the Eastern District, federal district of oh my gosh, I'm blanking here, of North Carolina. So you can't, this isn't a VA claim. You have to have an attorney do this for you. This
Right.
has to be filed. You have to go through all the motions and stuff. So we have a page up. I don't know if you could bring that up at some point or just show them later, but we have a page
Yeah,
up
I'll
that
put it
basically
up on the
explains
screen here.
everything. Okay. And it explains everything as far as what the background is, who's eligible, and if you're interested, you can fill out something right there, and we can process it. And we're working with one or two firms who have done, who are just very much into the litigation side, whereas we understand the veterans and the Camp Lejeune side. So it works out well to make sure our vets are getting served. I will say, Craig, there are a lot of we talked about this before, trolls going on to where people are getting emails. You'll see websites pop up just saying, hey, apply for this now, go to this. Use whoever you want. You got to use an attorney, but just make sure you know where it's coming from. If it's a legitimate attorney website reaching out to you, which you're not supposed to do, but
yeah, double check that because you're not supposed to do that.
I take that back. But if you go online and you're researching it, and it's a law firm and they look legit, great, go with that. But if something finds you, like my brother and my brother-in-law got the exact same email. One lives in Colorado, one lives in DC, neither of whom served in the service, but it was like, if you were at Camp Lejeune and you did this, you should fill this out now. Just pump the brakes on that, okay? That worries me, okay? There's plenty of good attorneys, plenty of good folks out there you can work with, but make sure you know who you're dealing with up front versus some weird spam like
There's
that.
going to be a lot of spam marketing, the Nigerian prince thing. I got $1 million. What's your bank account so I can give you, break you off 10% of it. One thing that you said, since this is going to be in one place, and then you can't do this pro bono?
Well,
it's not
I mean,
advisable.
there are people who in theory you can, but the problem is there's going to be, to prove damages, there's most likely going to have to be pretty big experts to do it. The hope is the VA's, well, the government, I guess in this case, you don't say the VA, is not going to make us prove case by case, is the Parkinson's you have related to Camp Lejeune. If they do that, that's going to be super expensive. But once they do that, then we're going to have the damages part, which will say, okay, how bad is it now? What's going on? We're going to probably need some pretty thorough expert opinions on that. It takes a while, or takes a while to get these cases through, and it takes a lot of manpower too. So I don't know that anybody's going to be doing these pro bono. It's not like a VA case itself where you can, write a legal argument and wait for the VA to get
I'm
around
sorry,
to it.
I meant pro se. I'm sorry. But
pro se.
But it's the same thing. But basically, it's not a veteran-friendly environment. It is a civil matter, and you are going to be making this argument, and somebody representing the state is going to be arguing against you. So that's the main reason I would think you would need a lawyer.
I agree, and I used to work for a federal judge, and what I learned is the federal courts like swift justice, which a lot of times can be harsh justice, meaning if you file the wrong form, if you don't file some other form in time, you're out, and they don't have time for you. So it is, and that's why we're partnering with a firm that does a lot of federal work, because you slip one little piece, and the last thing they want is a case that they don't need, and they can get rid of you.
Right.
So it's slippery.
One thing that kind of stands out here is if these are all going to be in one location, it seems like the judges, since they're probably going to be the ones adjudicating the claim, not raters, and not judges and not lawyers, somebody that's actually qualified. So a judge, they're going to all be in one place. So it seems like they're going to be learning, and their decisions are going to be potentially more consistent versus having VA raters doing all sorts of different shit all over the country.
Exactly. Now, this is a jury trial. I'll say that.
Okay.
So So, and it's very rare that you get a federal jury trial. Usually it's what you just said, a bench trial, meaning just the judge decides. Here's what's going to happen here. There's probably going to be several, I mean, we're talking, I think, close to 100,000 people are going to be eligible, if not more. There's going to be several hundred what they call bellwether trials, meaning they go in, say, here, the plaintiffs or the veterans and their families will say, this is one of our strongest cases, and come back and see, what does that equal in terms of did we get it, causation, and do we get a high damages, and then the government's going to get to pick what they call the bottom of the barrel cases, and they're going to try those and figure out what are they worth. Can they all be thrown out, or is there a bottom that everybody can get? Once they do that, they have their range. My thought is they're actually going to settle. The government doesn't want to spend the manpower,
jury, right,
of doing all of these cases, especially when they're going to be so repetitive. So that's my hope, because that means the veterans and their families get paid a lot more, because as you said, it's in one place in North Carolina. Maybe they have 3 judges, maybe they have 5. I mean, can you imagine how long this would take to get all these things through?
100 years. No, I can't.
Yeah, they would make the VA look like it's a speed racer's course, just like, oh my gosh, look how fast my VA claim went through compared to that. So I think it'll be, and the government knows this. Everything's going to get in order, and they're going to try these trials, and it might not even be 100. It might be pretty clear after they try a couple dozen. They're like, okay, this is what the juries are going to offer for these. So.
Yeah, and unfortunately, as impersonal or shitty as it sounds or whatever, disabilities all come down to money. So how disabled are you, and what does it prevent you? And there's a there's a dollar amount associated with it. So that is what it is. That won't change. So yeah, it'll be, if you have Parkinson's, it's basically in this ballpark. If it's kidney cancer, it's this ballpark. These are all pretty, the 8 things that are on the list that are kind of presumptive are all pretty, I mean, everything's pretty serious. So it'll be interesting to see where they end up. But for sure, if it's a, $50,000 to $100,000 payout, I don't know how much it costs to try this in court with a jury, and you're probably not sequestering juries, but that costs a lot of money too. Right?
Yeah, and that, I got to tell you, that's the beautiful thing, is that we're going to try to take every case versus just the top 8. And, there might be a swift ruling where the judge says there's going to be no medical monitoring. Well, at that point, if we don't have something that's related, then we're kind of out of luck. But our thought is, bring them on. Let's take them all. Government owes these people some money, and let's make sure they get paid. So, we're pretty excited about this.
Yeah, I'm excited too. This is another way to do this. There's definitely a lot of other places that have had problems, but as they finally concede stuff and they open the little opening, drive through it. Especially when they're like, any human being with a heartbeat qualifies initially. So that's a good.
Well, or this, I didn't read that part. Or if you were in utero. While you were there. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is awesome. This is, they're not messing around with who should get benefits. So
anyway. It's an individual with a heartbeat.
Exactly.
Basically. Exactly. Oh, that expands it. So in utero as well. All right, cool. Well, wanted to just kind of start off, just kind of talking about the broad strokes here. Make people aware of it. We'll put a link in the description. And then as the PACT Act moves forward, we're going to be doing videos like this, talking more about it. And of course, anything subject to change. And then also, kind of to your point, as these things start getting adjudicated, we're going to get a feel for how the government's going to respond to them. So it's a fluid situation, and we'll keep everybody updated.
It is, and I'll say real quick, Craig. I mean, as you know, I mainly just do veterans work. This is something we've jumped into because we see an opportunity to use our skill set. But I am so excited for vets overall. I mean, all the burn pit cases where they were flat out denying, there's no cancer causing that, and now Congress is saying, oh yes, there is, and just giving this huge list, and the opening saying, we want UVA to come back every year and tell us what else should be added, and if there's nothing added, why not? I mean, I am very excited about what can happen from here. And it's almost like, if you look back on Agent Orange, it took them decades to finally admit stuff.
Yeah, 50 years or so, 40,
Yeah, for here, we're actually getting this up front, where vets are in the beginning of their lives, not towards, the back end. So anyway, I think there's so much to unpack, and I'm glad you got this channel and people tuning in, because I think there's, it's there, and now it's learning it, right? And
Right.
it's making sure everybody learns it and understands it well.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. And like I said, stay tuned. We will be doing more videos like this, and keep the content coming. And we'll see you in the next video.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks.